Hello and welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show. I'm your host, Monica Pierre. If you're a longtime viewer, this is our season 6. I say welcome again. If this is the first time you found us and you're just curious about what the show is all about, come on in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What we do is sit down one-on-one with amazing powerhouse women. They share their journey, their backstory, their passion, their mission, and also their missteps and lessons learned, and give advice to you as to how you can go forward as a powerhouse woman. I am a Emmy Award winning reporter and producer. I'm a talk show host, and I'm also founder of the Story Maker Academy. It's our 6-month program where I work with you one-on-one in a small group, and we put together your talk so you get to discover your story, develop your story, and deliver your story. And we are sponsoring the show. So if you want to learn more, go to storymakeracademy.com. Today on the show, we're talking about embracing your next chapter, this new chapter. Maybe you are finally stepping into your role as a powerhouse woman and it is different and you have a lot of things going on. How do you fully embrace? How do you write a new story, a new chapter? And how do you embrace where you are right now? Well, I could think of no one better to talk about this than the one and only Dr. Danyel Nicole Black, the founder of, there she goes, Crown Me Foundation. She's also starting a movement called the Aware Black Woman Movement and a Queen's Order. So that is a lot going on. Welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show again, Dr. Danyel Nicole Black.
Thank you so much for having me, Queen Monica. You know how much I love you.
Well, since the last time we had you on the show, a lot of things have happened, including you got your PhD. Congratulations on that. So we
Thank
refer to
you.
you with all the respect, Dr. Danyel Nicole Black. I know a lot of people know you, but there are a lot of people who are watching from London, Canada, who don't know you. Briefly, what's your backstory? How did you get from what you wanted to be to this moment?
That's a loaded question, Monica.
Ooh, you have a good answer for me?
That's a loaded question. And so I'm going to start with being hot, the way I always am, honest, open, and transparent. My story did not begin like a lot of people that always knew that they wanted to be nonprofit leaders or in business. I started out as a wife, a mom, and a teacher, and I was completely complacent and happy with that. And then life happened. My rug was pulled completely from under me. You know, the sky was falling. The world came crashing down. And that time really catapulted me into my destiny as a nonprofit leader, as a thought leader. And so here I am. That is how I got here.
It must have been very hard because he said
Oh my God.
again, I've heard you speak. You're also a speaker, and you talk about those moments. And I think you might have called it your broken self.
Yes, absolutely. Those moments were very difficult, very hard. And at the time, there were seasons of my life that I did not enjoy. Every season, to be honest, is not an enjoyable season. Some seasons we just need to maintain and sustain, our mental well-being and our emotional well-being until these seasons subside and move past us. And so starting out on this journey was not an easy feat for me. It was an awakening. It was a jolt into transformation and evolution. There were seasons that were really just equipping seasons, just putting tools in my arsenal. But now I'm in a season of abundance and expansion. I'm in the receiving season, the fruits of my labor. And so I'm very happy about that.
For the powerhouse woman listening who says, I can totally identify with you. How does one begin to know, let alone accept, what season they're in? Because sometimes in retrospect, we see, okay, it was a season of growth, a season of quietness. But in the moment, we don't always know what that season is. How do you recommend that we begin to know what season we're in?
It's funny you say that because I talk so much about this in my book, The Queen's Order, because even in our healing moments, we're looking for external validation. Am I healing right? Is this the season I should be in? What season am I in? We're looking for all of these questions to be answered. And a lot of times when we have that devastating moment or that pivotal moment in our lives, lots of chaos and confusion happens. And that is the time for us to go within and start to take inventory of everything that is around us and everything that we want from our lives. Like a lot of times people think that if I focus on what's in my external world, I can elevate, but that's really not how it's done. You have to go internally and accept the season that you in. You may want to be in a season of abundance, but you have to accept that I am in a seed planting season, and that is okay. I have to focus on planting quality seeds in this season. I have to focus on equipping myself with knowledge, equipping myself with exposure, with a new network of people so that the seasons after this can be more fruitful. So I would say when you're in a season, accept it and begin to accept yourself. Because a lot of times when we've made poor choices with past versions of ourselves, we don't always trust the person that we're becoming. So learn to trust yourself, learn to accept your feelings in that season. Allow those feelings to move through you. Don't hold on to them. Don't make it more traumatic than it needs to be, because your perspective is what changes the narrative. So how are you viewing this season? If you're viewing the season in a very devastating way, you're going to continue to reap devastation. And so you need to view every season as an opportunity for growth, for rebirth, for evolution. It's really about your perspective. Your perspective controls the narrative.
Right. And I work with a lot of particularly women leaders, entrepreneurs who are shifting, pivoting, and they find it hard to even articulate what the season is and articulate what the narrative is. When you emerge from that time that you talked about earlier and all of the seasons, and now you are Dr. Danyel Nicole Black, you remain the founder of Cromie Foundation, you have a book, your Wear a Black Woman movement. How would you, in a nutshell, describe this season and how are you able to really fully embrace and even love this season?
To all of the entrepreneurs who are starting out, I would say in a nutshell, in one simple sentence, I would say, I was it before I became it. And so no matter what season you're in, you have to have tunnel vision. You want the outcome to be great. I know in my season of building up to becoming Dr. Black, that was a very difficult season for me. And it was blood, sweat, and tears, more sweat and blood than tears, and then sometimes more tears than blood. But I still believed in my heart, internally, in my mental, in my vision. I saw myself as a doctor before I actually became a doctor. So to every person out there that's striving and believing to be a certain thing, you are it before you become it. If you are striving to be the CEO or the founder of your business or nonprofit, you are it before you even develop that thing, before you even file that paperwork. You have to become it internally before you see it in your 3D.
That is very powerful. Somebody get the T-shirt. Somebody print that shirt and love in the journal. Yes, I love that. Well, let's talk about the season that you're in. You have so many amazing, powerful things going on. So I'm not sure where to begin. You have Crown Me Foundation. And in a nutshell, what is that foundation about?
So Crown Me Foundation, what I realized when I was going through my heartbreak, I realized that there were not lots of resources that could help me navigate that moment. Again, I had a moment of not knowing exactly what was happening, what season am I in, what should I be doing, how could I fix this. So I wanted to create a resource that I did not have in that season. And so that's what Crown Me Foundation is. I also realized that a lot of money and focus is given to women after toxic relationships happen, after domestic abuse happens, but we need more focus put on preventative care. So that's what Crown Me Foundation does. We provide educational prevention because, again, I believe that nearly 100% of toxic relationships are preventable with education. And so if we intervene with education, we can interrupt the statistics and build healthier families. So with Crown Me Foundation, we provide education to our women and girls. And also we provide education to women that may be in relationships and not know that they're being abused, because sometimes abuse is quiet. Sometimes you come from abusive upbringings and you don't always know that you're being abused. So we expose that and we try to help them dismantle those relationships, peacefully and strategically and in the most healthiest way possible. In addition to that, Crown Me Foundation is also allowed to do business as Crown Me University, where we have a curriculum to service our women. We're not just ripping off the Band-Aid and leaving. We are standing with them and providing them with the resource and support and structure as they move through their lives. So we want them to be healthier internally. We want them to become more self-aware of themselves, be able to articulate their boundaries, who they are, and so that they can live healthier lives. So that's what we are. That's what we do.
You do so much.
Yes.
And it's so amazing because I have noticed, and you may have noticed it as well, so many women are, because of all the uncertainty, all the things that may be happening externally, that they are saying, you know what? I'm not waiting on anybody. I'm going to do it myself. It's going to look like it's going to look like. And what is Aware Black Woman movement? Because I'm intrigued by the whole idea that out the gate, you're calling it a movement.
Yes, it is a movement because I want Black women to move away from the strong Black woman persona. I don't believe that that persona is healthy, and I don't believe that it's serving us any longer. There was a time that being a strong Black woman allowed us to be the do all be all, but it has become toxic and destructive to us in ways that are affecting our health. It is affecting us mentally and emotionally because we have been carrying the weight for so long. It is time for us to show up in a different way. It's time for us to heal and be okay with being vulnerable and trusting people to help us carry the load, And so I want us to be aware and move more authentically in the world, embracing who we are and being okay with articulating our feelings and our boundaries. Because when we show up as strong Black women, we're not encouraged to have feelings. If we do have feelings, we're accused of being brash or rude or too abrasive,
Angry.
loud or angry. But I want us to be okay with being aware. I know, and a lot of women that are watching know that there are times when I know I have to be strong. I have to put these big girl pants on and do what I have to do to make the world spin. But then there are other times that it is okay for me to advocate for myself and say, no, I have to draw the line. I can no longer operate in this way. I need time to myself. I need myself to myself and block the world out. That is okay. We have to become more aware of who we are and what we need. If we don't go within, we go without. We go without the love that we deserve. We go without the life that we deserve. We go without the elevation that we deserve because we're not focused on us enough. And so that's what I want.
Okay. Well, we are running out of time, unfortunately, but I really would like you just to mention about The Queen's Order. Is that a book?
Yes, The Queen's Order. Listen, I have to tell you this. Going through the book, writing the book was difficult for me because I had to relive a lot of hard moments. And you asked me earlier in the segment about what season, how do women know what season they're in and what's happening and if they're evolving or healing properly. And so I talk a lot about that in The Queen's Order. It really is an inventory and a blueprint to healing and elevation, especially after heartbreak. And so I want women to read this book and be healed, elevate, and live the life that they deserve. And even going through it and reading the book myself, it is healing for me to read my story, to see the words come off the pages. And we all read things at our conscious level, but I feel like every time I reread it for it to go to print, I elevate a little bit more. And so I want that for all women across the world that will pick up this book. You know, I want them to be healed and have a blueprint.
Amazing. How do people continue to not only support and applaud all the things that you're doing, but to keep track of all the things that you're doing? Is there a website? I think you even revamped your website.
I have a new website in addition to crownmefoundation.org. They can find me at drdanyelnicole.com. You have all of my information on that website of all the things that I've done, accolades, and how to connect with me, how to get me for speaking engagements. And then also in social media, you can follow me at Crown Me Foundation on Facebook, Crown Me Foundation on Instagram, and also my personal Facebook, Danyel Nicole Black. And also go follow the Aware Black Woman page that has been recently developed on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
You are doing it. Everything. Speaking everything.
Yes.
And thank you so much for being with us today. And it has been a powerful interview, and also letting people know that these seasons are coming. You know, I'm a sharecropper's daughter. I grew up and there are 4 seasons. You can't, do things in the wintertime and expect that harvest, when it's
That's
time
right.
to reap. So thank you so much.
But what I could also add to that before we close out, no matter what season you are in, you deserve to be loved. And that love needs to come from yourself. The love for yourself does not stop because you're in a hard season. You choose yourself regardless of the season.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate that. And it's been a great show. Great show. Hold on just a second. And I want to thank you all, especially if this is your first time, for joining us. I appreciate that. Again, if you need help with your story, with articulating the new season, and you're looking to tell that story, I encourage you to reach out to me at the Storymaker